Derek, uh, on this outrage question, where it all came from, very early on in the book, you say this is first world problems, that there is a sociological function that when people have it too good, they need something to complain about. And then you also talk about the doomsday cult of global warming. And I've always noticed the environmentalist movement really launched into full form after the fall of the Berlin Wall. After the Cold War ended, after our actual existential threat ended, the left just made one up. It just invented one out of whole cloth. Is all of this outrage just an aspect and a consequence of our luxury and our decadent society?
A large part of it is when the Berlin Wall fell and the Soviet Union went away, the left lost. They were basically rooting for that side. So they needed to come up with another way to oppose capitalism and individual liberty. And there was a ready made one there with the environment. What better way to scare the crap out of somebody than to say, you're destroying the planet. We are destroying the planet. We must now cede our liberty, our property to the government in order to save the entire planet. And of course, if you remember the 90s and the early 2000s, Al Gore was running around going, there's 10 years, or it's too late. If we don't do something now, it'll be too late. Well, that came and went. And we haven't, I'm in New York. I didn't take a gondola to my hotel. We are not flooded. The storms that we were promised didn't happen. They weren't more frequent. They weren't more powerful. So rather than what a normal human being would do when something like that goes wrong and reflect like, hey, maybe I was wrong about this, they decided smartly, from a diabolical point of view, to extend the time frame. It used to be 10-year predictions. Now it's 100-year predictions. You, Michael Knowles, if you predicted come Friday, the world will end and you get a bunch of followers, Saturday morning, you're going to have some explaining to do. But if you decide, no, in 100 years, the world will end, well, you can't prove that. But more importantly, you can't disprove that. And now if you look at the climate change studies, they are 100-year predictions. They talk about the year 2100 because nobody will be around to recognize that they were full of it, that they were lied to. But we must act now, of course. The answer is always now, whether it was global cooling in the 50s, which was Brady Friedan was writing about it in the 50s, or global warming in the 80s and 90s, or just generic climate change. We always must act now. And the solution, ironically, was always the same. It's very curious. No matter what the problem was, the solution was the same, which would cause a normal person to go, that's weird, when the problem was the exact opposite. The solution was the same. So, they have to scare the hell out of you, or something like that. A question like that might occur to you.